live.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Very good.
All right. Hey, welcome everyone. Glad to have you here. Scott, awesome to be hanging out and chatting with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for coming and doing this, Ryan.
Yeah, no worries. Excited to hang out with your tribe. You know, you guys have some pretty cool people over there. So
We do. I like to think that we have the best audience around. And I've seen a lot of evidence of that. In fact, we've got a bunch of people on here tonight. So I'm really excited for this, for a lot of different reasons. And one of them is we get to get some people to work that they really want to be doing.
yeah. Oh,
And
are
at
you
the
there?
same time, we also get to talk about the how to get there. Now, and I cut out for just a second here. Here's something I want to do before we really get going. I want to make sure that you can hear me. So go ahead, and you've got a set of comments or a comments box over there on the right hand side. Let me know if you can actually hear us, and then also while you're at it, now that you found it, let us know where you're joining us from. Really want to be able to hear that. Really want to see where you're actually joining us. Where in the world are you? So we'll let those pop in here over the next few seconds, and then at the same time, I want to introduce you to Ryan, who's my friend. Got to know him a little bit over the last about 5 months or so. I guess it's been 4 or 5 months or so now.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to tell you, I was really impressed with him the very first time that we chatted on the phone, because he's not like other career experts. Quite frankly, I see a lot of stuff just being in the space that I'm in, and a lot of it really is not only not useful or not inspiring, but at the same time, I was really impressed that Ryan is very much purpose driven, which really jived with what I'm all about and what I believe.
Yeah.
So, just to tell you a little bit more about him, and then Ryan, I'll give you the floor. But let me embarrass you here for a second, and just tell everybody that you're actually one of the most sought after purpose driven career experts in this whole entire job seeking space. And with your goal, not just to get people to work, but really inspire people to connect their purpose to their paycheck by actually going through the process of finding and getting jobs that you love, and also making a positive difference in the world. That's the critical part for me. At the same time, really making that positive difference in the world. So thanks, man. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming over. I really appreciate it. And before we get going, just want to make sure you know that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and obviously honored to be here and hanging out with you great people on this fine evening. And I know there's a lot of other uses that everyone can use with their time, so I appreciate you investing in it here. And I see, by the way, that we're getting a lot of comments in from people. We've now got about almost 40 people on here from all over the world here. Scott, can you see those comments too?
They are popping up now.
Awesome.
I
Cool.
see, man, I see people from all over the place. Let's see, Victoria, and I know you're from Florida. Hi, Victoria. Let's see, Lisa from Scottsdale, Arizona. I see Ben from Perth, Australia. That's awesome. I see, hey, there you are. Gary from Cleveland. Can hear you too. Mandy from Indiana. Louise in Illinois. We got people all over the place. Greg from Tupelo, if I can say that even right. Man, we got, we got Australia. We got, Los Angeles. Rob from Los Angeles. Awesome. We've got, let's see, my comments are bouncing so much. It keeps scrolling down to the top because people keep popping in, which is even better, even better. All right. Well, this is going to be a great session. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. I've had the chance, just like anything that I bring to you, had a chance to be able to preview a whole bunch of what Ryan has in store for you. So with that, I want to give him the floor and really get you into it. This is going to be good.
Cool. Thanks so much, Scott. I'm going to hijack controls here and present to everyone. So you should all be able to see my screen now. Should be able to see my beautiful presentation here. So again, thanks so much, Scott, for having me, and welcome everyone. And in our hour or so together today, I'm going to try to keep it pretty tight and concise for you guys. I'm going to give you some really just interesting data and insight into why I believe that right now is the best time, opportunity-wise, that the world has ever seen to make a really bold move in your career, to create a better lifestyle and get a more engaging job. I'm also going to give you guys some of my best strategies and tactics for coming out on top and winning what I call the new career game. So if you choose to become a leader or a winner in this new career game, then you will be able to align your work with your strengths, your values, your purpose. You'll potentially earn more money, and I mean, most importantly, you'll just do what you love, I think. So this is going to move pretty fast and furious here, because I do want to honor your time. Everybody on the call, again, I really appreciate you guys hanging out from all over the world here. So I'm also going to do my best to entertain you guys along the way, try to have a little bit of fun tonight with some fun stories in order to emphasize a few points. So, and then lastly, I do firmly believe in bribing people to take action that benefits their lives. So, I mean, we're all motivated by pain and pleasure, I think we'd agree. So if you guys stick around to the end of the presentation, I'm also going to give you guys a little bonus, a little valuable resource. It's called my Dream Job Resource Guide. And, you know, people always ask me, where do I find the types of inspiring, game-changing companies that you talk about? So I put together this little guide here with 14 top-of-the-line websites that contain really just exciting, amazing opportunities. And look at this, I already missed a couple slides here. 14 top-of-the-line websites that contain thousands of exciting opportunities. So there we go. We're on track. And as I said before, companies, yeah. Plus a surprise, oh, sorry, and a surprise bonus from Scott. There we go. And we'll do some Q&A at the end as well, too. But Scott, I'm excited for what you have to share at the end as well, too. So cool, Q&A. So as Scott gave me a great introduction, I'll say again, just really quick, I am Ryan Neeson, and just, you know, why the heck you should listen to me instead of doing anything else tonight at your computer is that, yeah, I position myself as one of the most sought after purpose-driven, I really focus on the purpose-driven side of it, career experts in the job-seeking space. And I do play this game so that I can inspire people and help them to find and get jobs that they love, that make a positive difference in the world, so that they don't wind up lying on their deathbed wondering why they traded their soul for a paycheck. So I try to make that a little bit emotional because it gets me fired up there at the end. So I really do believe in what I'm doing, and I'm excited to share this message with you guys tonight here too. So I am also a friendly hockey playing Canadian, living in beautiful Austin, Texas right now with my lovely wife, that's her, who I met on a volunteer trip to South Africa a few years back. And I have to take a second to credit her for her amazing support and encouragement. I just wouldn't be here talking to you guys without her. So also for the past few years, I have been working to help people get out of their soul-sucking jobs, for lack of a better word, and into the new career game. So what is this new career game that I'm talking about? Well, I'd like to start, if it's all right with you, by taking you back through just a little bit of a brief history through time. And since how businesses change affect how you get employed, I want to start with the changes that the leading organizations around the world are making. And then I'll tell you why it's good for you if you prepare yourself to take advantage of them as well. So let's start all the way back with the dinosaurs. So dinosaurs roamed the planet for a grand total of about 165 million years. They had the longest reign on Earth that we know of, which is pretty cool because in comparison, humans have been here for less than 2 million years. Now, despite being the dominant species on the planet, they eventually faced what's called an extinction event. So we all know an huge asteroid hit Earth. Any dinosaurs that weren't killed in the initial explosion eventually died off because the worldwide effects of that explosion were so drastic that they couldn't adapt. It was an adapt or die situation, and they died. So moving forward with some more recent history, let's talk about the old career game, and then I'll lead into the new career game from there. So the old career game is where people drive to work to sit in an office, bored out of their mind, working for the man at a traditional company, and that sees people as human resources rather than human beings. That's the distinction that we like to, that I like to make, and my business partner, who I'll tell you about in a little bit too, likes to make. And you can notice the feeling behind those terms. It's just a human resource versus an actual human being, which is what we are, obviously. And so, you know, the old career game is working for companies whose only concern is to make a profit regardless of social or environmental effects. And, you know, we all know these types of companies, and odds are, if you're here, if you're hanging out with us, you know, you probably in the past worked for them or maybe work for one now. So you also probably know that another defining feature of old game companies is that they're stuck in what's worked in the past and they're slow to adapt to change. So for instance, Kodak, the company that invented the first camera, they were the first one on the scene in this huge industry. They dominated the imaging industry into the 90s, and they had a chance to adapt before they were actually forced to declare bankruptcy in 2012. But they failed to see the opportunity coming with digital imaging and photography and how it was pushing old school photography towards extinction. So they stuck to what they knew. They played the same old game that they've been playing for years, and as a result, they had to go bankrupt. And at the time, they had a little more than 130,000 employees. So talk about a pretty quick change for a lot of people. So today, the same extinction event scenario that we're talking about here is happening to businesses worldwide. And I believe, based on, again, what I've researched, that it affects you. So there's a lot of change coming. You know, there's technology changes, automation, societal changes. One of the coolest things I've seen recently is a Google self-driving car here in Austin. And that is, I don't know if you've seen one, Scott, but those things are crazy.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah. So, but there's also, at the same time, a lot of opportunity to create a life and a career that you love, one that aligns with your strengths, your values, and your purpose, makes a difference in the world, and creates the income that you desire. So enter the new career game. And new game companies are buying into the purpose-driven or the for-benefit movement. And for-benefit companies exist to maximize benefit to the people and planet. And they have a mission or a purpose to accomplish, and they prioritize initiatives that meet that mission. They treat people like human beings, and they empower employees and have a positive impact on their stakeholders. So they also minimize their environmental footprint just because it's the right thing to do. So this movement is a long time in the making, and the site that you're looking at in this image here is the Game Changers 500. And that's a list of the world's top 4 benefit companies. It was founded by my friend and business partner, Andrew Hewitt, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a bit. But Andrew's not the only one leading the way. There's also what's called the Certified B Corps, so or benefit corporations here. And you can see that it's not a small movement. There are over 1,400 corporations in 42 countries and 130 industries around the world with one unifying goal, which is pretty cool. So so as you can see, there are quite a few companies that have signed up to play this new game already, and traditional companies are jumping on board too. So in fact, recently a publicly traded corporation in the USA filed to become a for-benefit corporation, and this is a huge milestone, and it's an indicator that more are coming to join this movement. And as I think we said in our emails, if you can see what's coming in the trends in the next 3, 5, 10 years, the people who see who are able to see that are obviously able to take advantage of this trend. So that's why I'm just kind of walking through what's going on in the business world, and then I'll bring it back to you guys here. So, Laureate Education, largest provider of for-benefit education, filed a statement with the SEC to register as a public benefit corporation in the state of Delaware. And so why did they do this? Well, it's because they saw the writing on the wall. So traditional companies like dinosaurs have reigned a long time, and they're in the middle of an extinction event, and forward-looking companies know it. So that's why organizations like Google, Tom's Shoes, Whole Foods, Zappos are on the Game Changers 500 list, which you can see a part of here. There's a lot. I mean, there's 500 that qualify as the top organizations, and then hundreds or thousands more that are either in the process of applying or pretty close to fitting the criteria that, regardless, they've joined the movement. So you can see Patagonia on there, Cliff Bar, there's Google is the one everybody knows, but there's Tom's Shoes, there's Kiva, lots of other really well-known organizations that are part of this. So, so moving on, I'll dive more into that in a minute here. But what does all this mean to you, and how can you win this new game? Well, I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint here, just before we dive into content. So the hint is this quote from Mark Benioff. Hopefully I said his name right, not sure. He's the CEO of Salesforce, and he said, the secret to successful hiring is this: look for people who want to change the world. And so you guys are on this webinar right now. That's I'm assuming that's you. Otherwise, you probably would have left by now. So, so you're in a good place. And so high performers like you and I, and I know you're a high performer because you're on this call tonight, you and I are no longer satisfied with living an Office Space movie type of life. And if you haven't seen the movie Office Space, I highly recommend it. I think it's on Netflix, at least in the States it is. Really great, humorous movie making fun of traditional corporations. So the Office Space life, where we battle traffic every day to collect a paycheck from a company that doesn't care about us. Hoping that we get hit by a car or lose some unimportant body part that we don't care of, like they did in one of the characters did in Office Space, so that they can collect a bunch of insurance money and retire early. Instead, we want to connect our purpose to our paycheck, and we want to wake up excited for what's to come and go to bed at night satisfied with the day's accomplishments. We want to apply our strengths and skills to something meaningful that makes a difference in the world, and also work in an exceptional work environment that with a company that actually cares about us, and coworkers who challenge us and engage us and who we actually like being around. But most importantly, I think, is that we want to make the most of our limited time here on Earth. We all have so much time here, like it's our most valuable resource. So and live life to the fullest, and that means working a job that aligns with our core values and lifestyle. And that, my friends, I believe, is evolution. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting more from life and getting it. So for you, maybe that means having the flexibility to work on your own hours. Maybe it means being completely mobile and working from anywhere in the world, or maybe becoming a partner in a company with profit sharing, or maybe simply having an office work environment where you're empowered to help customers however you see fit. And have fun every day with everything from laser tag fights in the office to annual retreats on Paradise Islands. So that's what some of the companies that I'll show you in a minute here. So as you can tell, I'm not talking about traditional companies here. This is a whole new world of opportunity, and despite what you may think about the economy or the competition out there, this is coming. So so in today's presentation, I'm going to get really specific and show you how to win the new career game and make yourself magnetic to employers regardless of the economy or competition in the workplace. I'll show you how to apply your strengths, your values, and passions to something that actually matters, so that you go to sleep feeling fulfilled every day and have more energy to enjoy life. And last, where to find the best companies playing this new career game and how to get their attention and land a job. So if you haven't already, I suggest grabbing like a pen and paper or opening up Evernote on your computer or something to take notes, because this is going to go pretty fast, and I've done my best to fill it with actionable strategies and tactics here that you can start applying to your career now. So first, before we do get into the intense content, I want to just cover a few common myths so that we're all on the same page here. And so myth number one is I can't do it. And I'm going to cut right to the chase on this because I'm pretty passionate about this one. But I firmly believe that lack of confidence and belief in ourselves is the most damaging and prolific sickness in the world. Like every single person in the setting, including myself, we've suffered from it, or we suffer from it currently to some degree. And it literally just holds us back from our dreams. And just on a personal note, it actually took me like 3-4 years longer than it should have to start my first business. And I know we're talking about careers here, but it's the same idea when it comes to your dream job. And the reason is because I was just afraid. I was a coward. I thought I needed more education, more experience before I could get what I really wanted. So I, instead of actually going and doing it, I would research people, I would watch videos, and whenever I'm talking to people, my friends and family, I could tell them all about my big dreams and that one day I was going to get them. But looking back, I wish I had someone there to just slap me in the face and say, Ryan, this is BS. Like, you stop giving into that fear, and you just need to start. Like, start somewhere, anywhere. You can imagine, one way to do it is imagine that you've already achieved your goals, and a future you is looking back at you telling you there's nothing you need to worry about. It's going to take 3 tries, 4 tries, 5 tries, whatever it is, doesn't matter, before you break through and get it right, but you'll get there. And the sooner you start, the sooner you'll arrive. So, on that note, more and more companies like Google and other companies are announcing that they don't even look at grades from school anymore. They care about who you are and the value that you can provide. So whatever your experience or education level, now more than ever is your time to shine, I believe. So don't let this myth hold you back. What I'm about to share here works for anyone with any level of experience or education in industry or any industry or profession as well. So on to myth number 2, I'll never find my dream job. And the problem with this one is that people think that, what I found is that a lot of people think that their dream job is just like a one-time occurrence that they were just born to do. So they wind up into falling into one of 3 categories or groups. And the first group looks at their mountain of expectations that their dream job should be, and it's so big and terrifying that they say, no, it's too big, can't do it, not even gonna try. Second group climbs half the mountain, and they find that maybe it's like springtime, and they find a nice little lake with a cozy cabin there that's just empty and set up, and it's like from a dream or something. So they get to they just decide to make base camp and just hang out there and just enjoy it for a night or 2 before continuing their climb. So they build a fire, they settle in, and just wind up staying there, settling, comfy, and no matter, you know, winter comes, whatever, it doesn't matter how nasty the weather gets, they just forget eventually what's waiting for them at their top, and they just settle there. So the third group climbs the mountain. They go through all of the challenges and obstacles that it takes to climb an entire mountain, and then they get to the top and they see there's a whole another range of more mountains in front of them, and they say, this is awesome, and I wonder what else I can achieve. You know, so I suggest to you that you make the choice now to be a part of that third group on your journey to find your dream job, because it truly is a journey. It's not a destination. There's going to be more mountain ranges, and as you continue to grow and evolve into the best person you can be, your career is going to do the same thing. You're going to have more and more dream jobs in quotes, right? So that's my take on that myth anyways. And so on to the last one, is that traditional job seeking strategies still work. And only 1% of traditional resumes lead to a job offer. I don't know if you guys might have heard this already, but 1%, which is obviously not very good. 70% or more people are disengaged and bored out of their minds at work. So clearly the old school approach just doesn't work. So if you want to get the attention of an amazing company and win this new career game, then you've got to do something different. You know, it's like Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So as it applies to us, can't keep using outdated job seeking strategies that they teach in school, because they've been proven to not work. And so now just an important question to answer, since I know your time is valuable and I want to make the most of it. So is this information for you? Well, if you feel stuck, overwhelmed, lost in your life and career, and if you want to get out of a rut, if you're feeling like you're in a rut and into a job that you love, then this is for you. If you feel like you're wasting your talent and energy working for a soulless company and you want to do something that actually matters, then this is for you. If you want to be on the winning side of this new career game, so that you have the opportunity to earn more, be happier, and achieve your dreams in the coming year, then this is for you. So last thing before we get into the meat of the content is just a couple of house rules to set expectations. Expectations and clear communication are really important to me. So rule number 1 is that there is no magic pill here. Sorry if you came in expecting that I'm going to just like hand you a dream job and a little cloud to float off of into the sky with all of your dreams. You probably know this already, but no such thing exists. So just want to be super clear about that. Second, that it leads into is that you get out what you put in. You determine your own results. So I'm a big believer of that, and you know, I'm fortunate to I'm fortunate to have achieved the things that I have, and I'm lucky to have like a great life and career and whatever. But I've only achieved the things that I have, and the things that I know that if I want to meet future goals, I know it's because I need to continue doing is invest. I've invested thousands of dollars and hours into my number 1 asset, which I believe is myself. So for you, I believe that your number 1 asset is yourself as well too. So I pay for high-level coaching and training, and I do my best to apply it to my life. I'm not perfect, so I don't think anybody is, but that's why there's practice, right? So so anyways, tying that back is, as I'm sure you know, most people who buy any sort of how to improve your life training will never put it to use. They'll never, anybody on webinars or buying things, doesn't matter. Most people never put it to use and don't wind up improving their life at all. And that's just how it is. It's the same reason that people buy a treadmill, just to put it in the closet and never lose weight. It's so I hope that you use everything here that I'm about to cover to win the new career game. make more money, achieve your wildest dreams, and I will do everything in my power to support you in doing so. But I make no promises that you will in fact do so. So here we go. Just a quick story here too is if you've ever felt stuck in a job that was a waste, that you felt that was a waste of your time, aside from the fact that it paid the bills, then I know how you feel. In fact, I used to feel the same way, and we might have more in common than you think. So just a quick story here is years back, I worked as a sales guy in a cell phone store, and it was an okay job and it paid the bills, but as the days and months crept forward, I gradually became more and more bored. I didn't feel like I mattered at all, and I knew that the company I worked for didn't really care about me either. So I also just refused to believe that I was put on earth so I could stand in a store and sell iPhones to spoiled teenagers. But it was all good though, because I had a way out. I had discovered my dream job, or so I thought at the time. They were a company all the way across the world, and they had just an amazing company culture. Like it was kind of Google-esque, and I would have done just about anything to get that job. They were definitely a new game company, even though I didn't know what that was at the time. So I put together my resume and all that stuff that I was taught in school to do, and I sent it in. And after a few interviews, I thought it was going all right, but I didn't hear back for a while. And after following up with them a couple of times, I finally got a response. I did not get the job. So this was me. And I still remember that feeling. My heart just totally dropped. I felt sick to my stomach. Not only did I miss out on what I knew to be my just total dream job, the one that would launch me forward and ensure that my dreams came true and all that stuff, but I had no other alternative options. I had to continue what I was doing to pay the bills. But as a result of that pain, I made a decision that would change my life forever. I decided to trust that as one door closes, another opens, and I would just roll with the punches and find my real dream job and find an approach to getting it that actually works. And I also promised myself that I wasn't going to settle for anything less than amazing. Remaining bored out of my mind was just not an option. I was not willing to just do the same thing for dozens of years and just slowly drift away. So I started looking around for alternatives, and I found this guy. His name is Andrew Hewitt. This is a picture about 5 years older than that, so probably update that. But Andrew, as I mentioned earlier, he's my business partner, and he's the founder of the Game Changers 500. It's a list of the world's top purpose-driven or for-benefit companies, and I'll tell you more about him in a minute here too, and how he fits into this new career game and all that stuff. But I actually met Andrew at an event in Hawaii where he was on stage talking about this new game, and it was just totally blew my mind. And so anyways, we hit it off. I talked to him afterwards. We became good friends, and using what he taught combined with his perspective on where the world is going with this new game, I was fortunate to be able to use a pretty unique approach and land my dream job with a couple of millionaire entrepreneurs. My dream job at the time, that was. And I learned the skills necessary to partner up with Andrew and build the business I run today, helping people like you guys find jobs you love with some of the most inspiring companies in the world. So that's a bit about my story and the background of everything. So now let's dive into the meat here, the 3 powerful ways to win this emerging new career game. So this new career game, as I said, I believe this is the way of the future for businesses and you. Businesses will convert or become dinosaurs, and employees everywhere are readily and happily joining this growing movement. So to put it simply, the new game is about connecting your paycheck and your purpose in life. It's about making an impact and an income. And so in addition to being fulfilled by your work and actually enjoying it, benefits for you with this are that certain new game companies around the world are treating their employees to perks like annual Paradise Team retreats. There's laser tag parties at work at some of these different ones. There are variations of monthly and quarterly bonuses and profit sharing incentives. So in addition to creating an exceptional work environment, which they pride themselves on, as demonstrated here, these wonderfully just non-traditional organizations believe in empowering their employees. They put a lot of focus on that. So if you've ever felt like your company is treating you more like a human resource than a human being, remember that distinction that we made earlier? Well, not here. In fact, some of these companies are 100% employee owned, and in others, 5 hours of your work week must be spent on personal and professional growth. So they genuinely care about you and your development and creating more opportunity in your life. So, and those are just the employee perks. So new game companies also care more about their bottom line, or they care about more than their bottom line. Important distinction in the wording there. They care about more other things besides just their bottom line. And their missions focus on creating things like eco-friendly products. They focus on earth-friendly offices and making a profit as well as a difference in the world. So here's a sneak peek inside Zappos, which is one of these companies. They're an online retailer. They started out with shoes. Now they're doing a lot of other cool stuff, and they've actually taken over, I believe, a section of downtown Las Vegas to convert it into like a kind of a campus, kind of like what Apple or Google does with their campuses. So really cool company that's joined this new game here. So these three powerful ways to win the new game are the three-step process is to start with identifying your point A, and then identify your point B, and then find and get your dream job. So as you might have guessed, I'm going to use the map analogy with this. So imagine you're standing in the middle of a desert, and we want to say, I want to go to Florida and get a beachfront home and just lay on the beach all day. That's your dream. So that's great to know, but the problem that you have is that you have absolutely no idea where you are right now, and therefore you are clueless about which direction to go in order to get there. So the first step is obviously to figure out where you are right now so you can get that bearing and figure out where you're heading. So that means taking the time to look at your life and your career with an honest eye. And so the next step is to figure out your point B, or that's your dream. It's exactly where you want to go. And by the way, the more specific that you can get here, the better. And then finally, the third step is just to actually go and find and get your dream job, obviously. So with point A here, your starting point of reference, we're going to look at it in three different areas, which are your strengths, your values, and your passions. So these are the three aspects of you that you need to be intimately familiar with in order to find the best position possible and win the new career game. So with point A, let's start with step one of point A, which is to tap into your superhuman strengths. So Fortune magazine did a study, and they found that people who use their strengths in the workplace are actually 127%, more productive than the average employee, which is obviously huge. So when you think about it, it makes sense. Not only will you be more productive, which adds value to your employer and can accelerate your career as you do better things, you'll also enjoy your work more. So it's a win-win situation. So for-benefit companies know this, and they know that they'll get the biggest bang for their buck with you if you are in a spot where you're applying and building on your natural strengths. And that's great news for you, because everyone knows it's more enjoyable to do something that you're good at versus battle something that you despise. So I suggest, on that note, taking a couple of strengths tests and printing out the results and just studying them carefully. I can't even tell you how many I've done in the day, just printing them out, highlighting things, making notes, because every one that you do, you gain a little more self-awareness. And so these strength tests are your own personal blueprint to excellence, and they're a powerful weapon also during the interview process. They'll help you stand out in a really unique way, and I'll touch more on that when we get to number 3, which is how to find and get your dream job. So step 2 is step 2 of point A is to clarify your core values. And one of the biggest things that makes for-benefit companies stand out is that they typically have created a list of their top core values. And what's interesting here is that if you don't fit those values, you're not going to get hired. It doesn't matter if you have a Harvard education and a ton of experience. If your values don't align with theirs, then you're not going to get into the club. And if you do, then you'll be booted out shortly. So in fact, after completing a trial period at Zappos, that online retailer I was telling you about from Vegas, who are, by the way, leading the way in this movement. They're part of the way leading it. All new employees that they have there after the trial period are made an offer. And the offer is this: if you quit now, we'll give you $2,000. So tempting for a lot of people, right? To just take the money and run and move on to the next thing. And so Zappos does that very deliberately. They only want people there who love it so much that they would rather keep their job than take a paycheck and just peace out and move on to the next thing. So this is a really simple, effective way to preserve their core values and their culture and make sure that everybody who works there really wants to be there. So what do the core values look like? Well, here are Zappos. their top 10 values. So you can see that number 1 is deliver wow through service. 2 is embrace and drive change. 3 is create fun and a little weirdness. And so you can see this is quite a non-traditional approach. And Zappos, I mean, it's not like they're a crazy tech company like Google. They're an online retailer. They started out selling shoes. Now they sell a bunch of other stuff online. So this isn't, one of the things I hear is that, oh, this is just a young person's thing going to work at a tech company. No, this is for people at any age who just want to get the most out of life and work for a company that actually cares about them. And like I said, connect their purpose to their paycheck. So by the way, this means that if you want to get in with one of these companies, then you have to be crystal clear on your own values, so that you can, 1, find companies that are a match values-wise and fit what you want, and 2, so that you can clearly communicate to those companies why you're a fit values-wise. So I suggest that you take some time and just do a Google search, find one of the many core value assessments online, and just go through it and then use it to screen companies you're applying for to see if it's a fit. So you can find a chart like this one and identify your top 10 values out of there. It takes maybe a half hour of reflection to go through this and pick out your top 10, and then you can narrow it down to your top 3 to 5 as a good number to come to. So now you have, after going through this, you have your top 3 to 5 things that absolutely must align with any opportunity that you search for and accept. And on the flip side, you'll be able to prove to the company that you're applying, that you're applying and you're actually a good fit for them. So that's the values piece of it. The third part, to move on to the last part of point A, is to lean into your inspiration using 3 types of dream job predictors. So following your passion isn't always as easy as it seems, but there are a few indicators that you can look for in order to find it. So the first indicator here is that it's something that drives you nuts. So if you're not quite sure what your passion is, here's a good way to look at it is, often things that really bother you are a clue. So, the classic example is, as a kid witnessing injustice, could grow up to be Spider-Man, grow up to be a superhero, right? Or in the real world, a police officer, or in the legal system, or something like that, maybe seeing the effects of deforestation. A young person might want to pursue environmental science. It could be anything. So I would ask you, is there something in the world that, and to reflect on, so is there something in the world that absolutely drives you nuts? And if so, then that could be your calling. So the next indicator, number 2, is a personal challenge. Now, obviously, we all have challenges in our life, and we all find a way to get through them. So sometimes, however, one or more of these challenges can leave a mark on us that inspires us to help others overcome the same issue. So passing on that wisdom to the next generation can be a really extremely fulfilling calling in life, and potentially the path towards your dream job. So this is the case for me, is that I've faced a challenge in getting my dream job and living a career that I love, and so that's now why I do what I do. So indicator number 3 is pure passion. So the third dream job predictor can come from love or just pure passion about something. So maybe you traveled somewhere exotic and fell in love with the wildlife there and decided to become a park ranger. Maybe you love socializing and you just naturally find yourself connecting friends to other friends for mutual benefit. So you might wind up in some sort of sales or broker position where you can build a network and just provide value to a lot of people in that way. And so that's the third one. So another great way to see if a passion comes up is just to spend some time researching companies that you think might appeal to you, and see which ones get you excited to learn more and contribute to their mission. Ultimately, the thing is that with inspiration is that it's got to be felt, and so it's up to you to discover that feeling however you can, so that you can lean into it. So that's where that dream job guide that I told you about at the end of the presentation, if you stick around, you can kind of scan the sites there, or else the Game Changers 500 site. So that's the end of point A. So point B is this is your destination. It's Florida or wherever it is. It's working for Zappos or Google or wherever. This is your dream. It's working from a condo on the beach kind of thing with your laptop. It's whatever it is. Here's the time to get clear on what kind of life and career that you want. So this can be a pretty fun process, but it can also be overwhelming at the same time. However, fortunately, you already have the framework for what kind of life you want to live and what kind of career you want to have. So using your strengths, values, and passions that we uncovered in point A, you can make some preliminary decisions about your dream job. So for example, for me, I love traveling and having the freedom to be mobile. So my dream job absolutely had to have the flexibility to work from home on my own hours. So here's how to discover or determine your point B. So step one is to define your big problem, and this kind of ties back into what we were talking about earlier. But one of the keys to finding fulfillment, which also ties into what full benefit companies are looking for, going back to that quote from the Salesforce CEO, is knowing your personal mission or purpose and working towards it. So knowing what it is that you want to change, what's the difference that you want to make in the world, and working toward it. So what big problem drives you absolutely crazy in the world? Maybe it's that the education system is just stupid expensive and leaves you unprepared for the real world. Or maybe it's something environmental, or maybe you're just endlessly solving tech problems. Whatever it is, starting with a big problem that drives you nuts is a really great secret key to finding out where you belong. Because hidden in that problem is your purpose in this life. It's your calling to contribute to the world. And I think that you'll find that when you serve others in alignment with your purpose, you just naturally wind up loving what you do. And with some work, with some focus and effort, you can make a great income doing it as well. So step two of point B, moving on to the next one, is to find the best organization solving your big problem. So now that you've identified it, it's time to find an organization that's doing a great job of solving it. So time to get on your research hat here and start looking for some companies that are just doing a great job of solving it. So there's probably going to be at least a few different companies out there doing a great job of solving that problem in a variety of ways. So I suggest just hopping on Google and starting a spreadsheet of every company that you can find that piques your interest and is solving your problem. And yeah, like I said, you can also start with that dream job guide that I'm going to give you at the end here. And so once you find a list of 10 companies, I would try to narrow it down to your top 3 to 5, and then that becomes your dream job list. So then the next step, obviously, is to get their attention. So that's step 2. Step 3 is to then to qualify. So this is part of the process as you find those 10, narrowing it down. Qualify companies based on your point A. So it's time to think about here how you best fit in with the companies that you found. So you know that they're doing something that you care about, right? You found them based on your big problem and things that you care about. So that's important. But now you need to make sure that they align with your values and what you want to get out of life that we talked about in point A as well. So that you can figure out how to put your strengths and your passions to good use with them. So when you can figure that out, then that will be your hook for getting your foot in the door. Because when you're crystal clear on your big why and you're focused in on what you want, then amazing things can happen. So these, by the way, people who are clear on these kinds of things are the kind of people that for benefit or new game companies want to hire. So on to number 3 here, which is actually finding and getting your dream job. So just a few techniques that I want to cover here on how to do that. And the first is to build a new game resume and cover letter. The next is to use a new game interview approach. And then the last one is a little trick called creating an irresistible offer. So let's dive right in here. The good news, by the way, is that it's actually easier to find an employer, get their attention, and get the job, I believe, than it is to complete the first 2 steps in detail to actually figure out what it is that you want your point B to be, and get clear on your point A, to have that self-awareness. So technique 1 is to build a new game resume and cover letter. And so writing a good cover letter can be painful and difficult. We know that, but the good news is that most people who do so use an outdated approach and just do a terrible job at this. So for the most part, it's going to be pretty easy for you to stand out with these types of companies when you apply what I'm about to tell you. So as you know, the old school traditional cover letter is boring. Why? Well, it's because everyone's looks the same. And the new cover letter is the opposite. It's an expression of your authentic self, your strengths, your values, and your passions through the medium that suits you best. So it could be presented in any form, physical or online. It could be a YouTube video, a website, it could be a game board, it could be a soccer ball. One person I saw online used a soccer ball to write all of their different strengths or something like that, and then send it into the organization. So it's all about figuring out a way to hook the particular organization's attention in a unique way. So here's just a few cool examples I want to show you guys here. And this is all about getting creative and thinking outside of the box. And obviously it totally depends on which company that you're applying for to what's appropriate. So for the first one here, this person wanted to work for BuzzFeed. So they wrote an article on BuzzFeed, 12 reasons why you should hire me. And you can see the use of wit and humor there that she used, which is typical of BuzzFeed. So it was very appropriate for what she wanted to do. If she was trying to apply for a legal company, she probably wouldn't have done that. But that was a highly effective way to get, and a great example of customizing your approach to get their attention in a unique way and putting more effort into it than just spamming companies with the same resume and cover letter. So on to the next one. This guy wanted to work for Google. So he put together an entire website called googlepleasehire.me, and a pretty cool, funny little video there too, again, applying wit and some humor into a little video pitching why they should hire him. So there are lots of really great ways to do this online, but it does not have to be online. So this example is someone who made an actual board game to show off his design skills. So something physical, again, there are other things you can do. You can mail in it, you can grab a whole entire FedEx envelope and mail it into the company. So the whole thing is about customizing your approach, tailoring it so that you actually show that you care and you want it. So these examples are pretty great. You know, the best part about the new cover letter is that there are no rules. Your sole mission is just to get the attention of your dream employer, and so you're free to use any tool out there to do so. So why this new game cover letter works so well? Well, it shows you have personality. It shows that you're willing to have some fun with an otherwise boring and templated process, and that makes you interesting. So along with showing that you're a real human who likes to actually have fun with their work, using this new type of cover letter also proves that you like to go above and beyond the norm to get results. And that's a highly desirable trait, super valuable. That's what these companies want. So the key here is to, again, decide on the type of companies that you really want to, the top companies rather, that you really want to work for, and then tailor your approach to get their attention. So no more mailing your resume to hundreds of just random companies. It's terrible, or submitting them online. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's a terrible approach. So figure out what fits with that company and then decide to get their attention in a unique way. So, you know, maybe if you're artsy and into media, like the girl in the BuzzFeed example, you could do something like that. You could do a YouTube or a blog, an entire blog dedicated to it. You could create some kind of physical letter or package, mail it to their office. You know, there are a lot of different ways to do this. So have fun, get creative, think outside the box, and that's how you'll stand out in this, you know, what can be a crowded job market, depending on where you are. So, and it's how you make a great first impression. So I've been talking a lot. I'm just gonna take a little sip of water here, if that's all right with you guys. Cool. Moving on to the last bit here. So technique number 2 is to use a new game interview approach. So in the interview, you can do a couple of really cool things to just stand out and actually prove that you're a really great position or a really great fit for the position and the company. And so the first is to print out your strengths profiles, bring them into your interview with you as tangible proof that you're a great fit for the job. So print them out, highlight them, go through them in detail so that you know and you're familiar and you have that self-awareness about yourself. And then also bring in the job description and highlight how what they're looking for aligns with your natural strengths. So you're literally showing them something tangible in a normally intangible thing. What you're good at is typically pretty vague, but you've taken the time and to put together a unique way to literally prove that you have the skills that they're looking for that job, and you can show it to them that way. So another great thing to do with that, it's less scientific because it's your own assessment, but of your core values. You can bring along what you've determined through your reflection, your core values are, and print out what you find about there, so that you can show how they match up and why you're a positive fit for their culture. So believe me, this technique will just knock their socks off. It's highly valuable and works really well. So the last technique here that I want to go through is called creating an irresistible offer. So I wish I could say that I came up with that term because it's brilliant, but it's actually a marketing guy who came up with that term. And it's fairly self-explanatory. But this is something that in this world, in the career space, I haven't seen many people talking about. And it's a pretty cool technique to almost guarantee that you can get your foot in the door if that's what you need to do. So the secret here with this technique is to ask yourself, what can I offer this company that will make it a no-brainer for them to give me a shot? So I actually use this approach to get my first job out of college years ago, back in the day. But it can work for anyone who's just needs to get their foot in the door somewhere and is willing to do whatever it takes to make their dreams come true. So here's the actual email I sent, or a piece of it rather, years ago when I first used this. So subject line, as you can tell, is going to get their attention. It's, "I am the one you've been looking for." So you'd probably open that even if you were a busy CEO or something or hiring manager or whatever at a company. The subject line grabs attention in a busy world trying to cold email one. It's a great subject line to use, and you can see that the email is pretty short and to the point there too, offering a 3-month unpaid internship. This is something that I sent to. The reason why it was short is because I was able to keep it that way, because I met it was the CEO of the company that I wound up getting my dream job with. I met him in person, and so I was following up with him here, and I wanted to make him an irresistible offer of working for free for 3 months in whatever seat he wanted to. So if you're young and willing to be broke and living off noodles for a few months, then in order to fulfill your dreams and get your dream job, then this is a great way to get your foot in the door. Alternatively, you can do something like offer to complete an entire project for them or something. So like I said, you don't have to be young to do this, or in fact work for free for 3 months. I mean, it's a great strategy if you're starting out, but the real secret is to find a person or organization that resonates with you so much that you know you just have to work for them, and then you do an evaluation of what you bring to the table. And if you need to, if you feel like you need a really great way to get your foot in the door there, then you can make them an irresistible offer, like what I just talked about. So yeah, like if you already have a full-time job, you could offer to work for free for 5-10 hours a week and just hustle to get it done. Take on a project that they don't have the capacity for, something like that. And again, it's just a great way to get your foot in the door. So that's the content there. So you're here at your computer watching this webinar. You know, you've heard how this works, and you know that these strategies are a great way to find your dream job with a for-benefit type of company, get their attention and get the job. So if you're someone who wants to take your life and career to the next level, then you might be wondering how you can just implement all of the tactics and strategies that I showed you as quickly as easily as possible. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to take just a few minutes here now, Scott, if it's cool with you too, to just tell you about a fast way to master these strategies and actually implement them in your life to get your dream job. So I'm not going to get all hyped up and try to get you all hyped up and all that stuff. I mean, about what this is and how it can help you. You've listened to me, you've heard my story. Scott's a great guy, obviously, and so you know what I'm saying can help you. So I just want to go over exactly what's in this job seeking program, helping you get a for-benefit type of job, how it can help you, and if it's right for you, then I want you to get it. If it's not right for you, I don't want you to get it. It's as simple as that. So so here's what it is. Oh, and by the way, so at the end, Scott and I are going to answer your questions too. So if you want, you can start typing in some questions in there, because there's a bit of a lag on the video here by the time they come into us. So we'll answer your questions, and Scott has a pretty amazing surprise that he is going to share with you as well too. So definitely stick on. I'm also going to give you that Dream Job resource guide at the end here too. So real quick, here's what it is. It's called the Gateway Method, and it is a proven step-by-step process for winning this new career game and finding and getting your dream job with a company like the for-benefit companies that I told you about here. So it was actually originally created by my friend and business partner, Andrew Hewitt, after he's the founder of the Game Changers 500. And so after he did all the research on what made those 500 game-changing companies tick, and you know, he actually created an entire unique set of criteria for qualifying organizations who made the list, because as you can imagine, for benefit isn't as tangible as the Fortune 500, which is based entirely on revenue. It's much less tangible. So he created an entire unique set of criteria for qualifying them. And so if there's anyone out there who's best suited to help you get this dream job with a for benefit type of company, it's him. And I'll tell you a bit more about him here and why he's the best person, just real quick, to help you win the new game. And then I'll just quickly run through the program too. So Andrew has been on stage at TEDx in Dubai talking about the new game. He worked with Richard Branson launching his B Team initiative, and he's spoken all over the world about this new career game and for benefit businesses as well. So he's just a pretty remarkable guy. And based on the response that we've had from members of the Gateway Method so far, he's put together an amazing and effective program as well too. So real quick, here's who this program is meant for. This will work for you if you don't know what your dream job is, if you have no idea which for-benefit company you want to work for, if you don't know what your strengths, values, passions are. It'll work if you have no experience relevant to your dream, if you think you want to pursue something else or move up, whatever. It'll work if you don't have the education that you think you need, if you've always relied on a traditional resume, cover letter, and portfolio. We'll show you how to update those. And if you don't know if you can earn a living doing what you love, we'll show you how to do that. So it doesn't matter how old you are, how much experience you have, or your education level. All you need is a bit of courage to take action and a bit of guidance along the way, and we'll get you there. So just a few really nice comments that I wanted to share with you guys here quick. Again, type in your questions here, and we'll hit them in a few minutes here. Scott and I will. So just, yeah, I'm not going to read through those, but just some nice comments about what some existing members are saying about it. Stuff like, you know, he hired me on the spot. Thank you for this powerful tool. So it's awesome. Just some really nice members. So this program, just so we're super clear about it, it's not some like boring resume template so that you can just bore and spam hundreds of employers with. We're not going to force you to desperately network or anything like that, hoping that you make some good contacts. You know, and it's not a traditional approach to job seeking at all. So if that's what you want, a traditional approach, this probably isn't for you, just to be clear. So this is about up-leveling your entire life and career by finding the top companies out there that align with your deepest purpose, and then getting their attention and getting the dream job. So if you want a meaningful career that you love talking about with other people, if you want to wake up excited for the day's events, and go to sleep at night satisfied with your accomplishments, content that you're moving forward and enjoying the journey, then here's how it works. So module 1 is, it's a 7-module course. Module 1 is an intro to the Gateway Method, 3 ways to increase your odds of getting an offer by 10x. So there are some critical things that you've got to do to package your potential in a way that catches the attention of your dream employer and shows them that you have what they're looking for. So we'll also cover why searching for opportunities on normal online job boards and using traditional resumes and cover letters to apply is a resume, or it's a resume for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster in this new career game. Module 2 is how to transform your traditional resume into a show-stopping job offer magnet. And this includes proven strategies to showcase your authentic best self to employers so that they'll appreciate the true value of what you bring to the table, regardless of your past experience. And we'll also share the 3 things recruiters are looking for in a great resume too. Module 3 is about perfecting your portfolio. It's how to showcase yourself as a pro and potentially add thousands to your starting salary. So in this module, Andrew gives you exactly what to include in your portfolio, tells you why it's so important to have one, and he shares how it can not only make your interview easier, but also give your starting salary a nice boost potentially. So on to module 4 is how to use social media and get recruited and hired faster. So we'll talk about the top major online social media services so that you don't just look professional, but you can also attract a lot of interest too. Module 5 is the top tools to stand out online and how to use them to quickly and easily create an unforgettable brand of you. So we'll give you the best online tools to easily and cost effectively, which is important, make a cool, creative online resume and cover letter, even if you don't have any tech skills. Module 6 is how to get the interview, tapping into the hidden job market. And this is, you might have heard this term elsewhere, but there's actually 80% of jobs are found in the hidden job market. So he gives you the #1 job hunting strategy out there and shows you exactly how you can use it to not only ensure that you're going to love the job that you're thinking of, but also significantly increase your job opportunities. And then the last module is about winning the interview. So Andrew shares the 3 key strategies you need to know to effectively communicate your best points during the interview. These strategies are used by the best TV and radio hosts in the world. And once you apply them, you'll see how truly powerful they are. So where was I? So the regular price of the Gateway Method is $6.97. And so I'm just trying to find the right slide. Yeah, but you're not going to get just the Gateway Method today, and you're not going to have to pay that price either. So Scott and I have put together some really amazing bonuses for you. The first one is called the Movie Method. It's an easy step-by-step process to get clear in your career path and dig deeper into the strengths, values, and passions without a boring, time-consuming process. So like we were talking about with point A here, this is a deep dive on that. And so it's a highly valuable course, 7 modules, and it's yours free here. The second bonus is lifetime access to updates. That's any new feature and content that we create. We listen to member feedback and we add stuff in there when it makes sense to do so. So a couple of examples real quick are that we've added in recently are how to use magnetic positioning to boost your perceived value and get your dream job. And we've added in the best resume templates that are working now and the tools to create them. So bonus number 3 that I'm going to throw in here is it's 2 hours of private coaching with me. So after you complete the entire program, and you that's the catch, is that you have to go through the entire program in order to get this bonus. You can email me and I will give you 2 hours of private time with me, helping out however I can help you out. So that's a great bonus. And then the fourth one is a 43% webinar discount. So if you join today, you'll get the Gateway Method and all the bonuses for only $397. That's a savings of 43% off the regular price of $697, and that's not even including my bonuses. So plus Scott has put together an amazing super bonus here for you. So Scott, I'll let you jump in and take over and talk about your bonus here for a minute. Did we lose you, Scott?
I'm back.
I'm back.
He's back.
There we
go.
And
I've been all through Ryan's Gateway Method, and it's quite fantastic. It very much knows what we teach at. So that's part of the reason I was doing this with. I've actually put your
a bonus where we are literally going to give you our program, which retails for $397, called Figure Out What Fits. And if you want to run the slide there.
Yeah. There you go.
Figure Out What Fits. It deep dives. It actually complements what Ryan does here very, very well, because it helps you decide exactly what you should be doing for work, really specifically detailing into your strengths. It very much complements the Movie Method too. Your strengths, what you want in your life, and is like what Ryan mentioned on steroids. So then you get what Ryan had talked about with the Gateway Method for the actual pieces of going in and putting all that stuff to work, which is very, very cool. And if you want to run it forward again,
yeah,
it's really divided into a number of different modules. First, really helps you move past fear, all the stuff that's really stopping you from work that you love, and all the mental junk and mental baggage that most people don't even realize that they have, and are causing them not to get to where they want to go, and I even identify where they want to go. And then we focus deep diving into signature strengths, what we call signature strengths, which are really that combination of the things that you love with the things that you're great at, so that you can have work feel much more like play than it does work necessarily. And then module 3 is really all about getting very, very, very clear on what you want in your life in particular and how that impacts your work. And then module 4 is really all about getting very, very, very clear on what you want in your life in particular and how that impacts your work. And then module 5 is really all about getting very, very, very clear on what you want in your life in particular and how that impacts your work. And then module 6 is really all about getting very, very, very clear on what you want in your life in particular and how that impacts your work. Rolling into the next one, module 4 is actually what we call matchmaking. And we don't pin you down to a job title in particular, because like Leo said earlier, I know I saw a comment from Leo. He said it's really not all about a job title. Job titles change from place to place, thing to thing. Instead, is much more figuring out what's really important to you, and then becoming very, very in tune. And Ryan's already alluded to that. So this, again, helps you do that on steroids. And then we include a what next. But I would say that in addition to that what next, the gateway method that what Ryan talks about here and what he's been showing you really helps you define that what next. So that's it. And like I said, normally we sell this all the time for $397. We're just going to give it to you free.
Yeah, really appreciate that, Scott, too. I think that's it makes it a no-brainer. It really, yeah, it's amazing. Love being able to team up with you though on this. So.
By the way, we've never actually done this before in this way, so this is the first time we've never done that. We've never just given it away for free as a bonus. So,
wow,
special for you guys.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good time to be on. Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, that's great. So, yeah, guys. So when you join the Gateway Method today, just to recap here really quick before we get to the Dream Job Guide and then questions as well too. So that's yours free. The figure out what fits is $397, like Scott said, and we will obviously, Scott said this is the first time that they've ever done that, and I can't keep that discount available forever either too. So you'll have a full 5 days to make the decision, which should be plenty of time just to decide if it's right for you or not. And after that, you can still join, but just at full price. So 43% discount on the Gateway Method, plus the bonuses will be gone at that point. So you can click the button below if you want to join now. There should be a button below the video. Scott, hopefully that's there for you.
I see a button. There is a button.
We have a button. Woo, technology masters, yeah. So that is there. And then just the last little thing to say is that I just want to make it a really easy, risk-free decision for everybody here, just by offering a triple guarantee. So if you join today, try out the program for a full 60 days risk-free. So if you don't like anything about it, if you don't feel like you're getting, if you don't feel like you're not getting 10 times the value of what you paid, which you should easily be, if you don't like my website, if you don't like me, Andrew, whatever, doesn't matter. Just click a few buttons and you can get a full refund. No questions or hassles. It's pretty simple. So yeah, go ahead and click the button. And here is the, before we get into questions, here's the link to get that Dream Job Resource Guide that I promised. So hopefully it's showing up there big enough that you can see it. The link is, I suggest opening up a new window, by the way, and typing this in so that you don't lose it, because I think I'll have to change the slide after this in a bit. So it's thegatewaymethod.com/webinar-dream-job-guide. So that is that's that Dream Job Resource Guide that has 14 job sites that are part of this new game, and thousands of opportunities. So like a really great place to start if you want to go and do a little bit of research and look around for the best companies out there for you. So hopefully you guys have that. Scott, maybe we should type that into the chat box too, hey?
Absolutely.
I can grab that if you want. Method.com/webinar Dream Job Guide. There we go.
Coming soon. There we go.
Cool. So that's there. Dream Job Guide is accessible. Oh yeah, and here's just a few. I think that's the end. Yeah. So that's it. So we can just head into some questions now, Scott. Hopefully some good ones have come up, and if you feel free, by the way, my voice is getting a little hoarse too, so feel free to jump in and add your take to anything that you want to.
No problem. And Ben has a great question. He says he's in, I believe it's Perth, Australia, I think, Ben. Apologize if I got that wrong. And he said in Australia, how does he go about really targeting the companies that are there? Because it sounds like he wants to stay in Australia, if I took that correctly. And he's struggling a little bit to find companies that fit really both of those pieces of purpose and passion.
Got it. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Got it. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a common question we get from people. And so we actually do have successful members from around the world right now in the Gateway Method. And there are companies worldwide, like we saw in that B Corp slide, of over 42 countries just from that one website. So the B Corp website that I showed earlier in the presentation is just one of the 14 job sites that I share in that Dream Job Guide. So I suggest that you grab that free guide and start looking through there. Probably the best two sites to look are the Game Changers 500, so Andrew's site, and then B Corp would be the next best one. And then the rest of them are great as well too. And I believe in most of them you can search by country. And on the Game Changers 500, you can search. There's a lot of really cool things that you can search for. So if you guys can open up a new tab, you can go to the GameChangers500.com and you can see that you can search by country. I'm heading over there now. You can search by industry, category. So they have a category of for benefit and then rising for benefit. So it's a company that's the rising ones would be up and coming one. And then you can search by you can see the badges that they have as well too. So that's their ranking system. And so you can see exceptional companies that have the exceptional work environment badge. So that's one example of how you can search. And so I would just suggest heading over and grabbing that guide and doing some research from there.
And another quick question too. So Darcy says, for my next step,
is there one firm? And I think maybe she means, is there just one firm, or maybe you mean more than one firm? Feel free to type in and clarify if we're getting that wrong here. What happens with that next step? Is it really just one firm you're after? Is it multiple firms? How does that work?
Okay, if you're asking, if they should only go for one, I see what you're saying. Okay, so yeah, feel free to clarify. Oh, is there one firm? So I think what you're asking is if you should just find one company, and I would suggest putting together a list of about 10 different companies that really appeal to you. So using that Dream Job resource guide to find about 10 different companies, and then like we talked about, kind of narrowing that list down to your top 3 to 5, because it takes a bit of effort to use the strategies that we're talking about here in terms of putting together a unique presentation to hook their attention. So if you have 3 to 5 companies that you would just love to work for, then odds are if you tailor your approach for those ones, that you'll hit the mark on at least one of them, and you'll probably have more than one really great opportunity for you. So do we target firm in one sector? I'm trying to look.
Yeah. It sounds like you're hitting right.
Yeah. So whichever sector that you want to go into, yeah, it's totally up to you just to find those find whatever sector and companies fit best with you. So.
And Ben says, yeah, thanks. He knows that it looks like there's some of the Game Changers 500 in his city, and he's going to try the rest of the resources too. That's awesome. All right.
Cool. Yeah. Lots of them, Ben, by the way, are allow you to work online. So my dream job that I referenced, I was able to work online too. So even if there's a company that's not in your city or country, I actually started out, I'm from Canada originally, and I started out working from home for about 6 months from Canada for a company down in the States. And then it was enticing enough that I made the move. So that's another option.
Another question that Darcy asks, I hope I'm saying your name right. Would I be happy in only those 3 to 5 companies? What happens if those positions don't work out? Well, I assume you mean if those 3 to 5 companies, if you don't secure a job within those companies that you've identified.
Yeah, that makes sense. If it doesn't wind up working out with those ones, well, yeah, I think at that point it's just one of my favorite quotes. I think it was, I can't remember the book that it was from. It's less of a quote and more of an idea that I got from it, is just to persist until you succeed. So I frequently tell myself that I will just persist until I succeed. And so it's a journey for sure, and you're going to face challenges along the way, and you'll probably get rejected by something that you really want at some point. But that's just how it is, and you learn the lessons, and move on and find the next thing. What would you say to that, Scott?
Yeah, there's a couple of different things. First of all, my experience again and again and again is if you do a really nice job by understanding the company, the people in that company, really crafting a way for yourself to stand out that also allows them to offer or understand what value you bring to the company, you end up building relationships through that process. And a lot of times I've seen this again and again and again with especially my one-on-one coaching clients. Then sometimes later on down the road, it might be, a month or two down the road, several months down the road, sometimes even a year down the road. I've had that happen for me again and again. You end up getting different opportunities because you stuck in their mind, because very, very few people will go to this length, to this extent, to really do the types of things that Ryan's been talking about here. And so you don't necessarily just benefit once, because if you're focused on building that relationship in that way too, it's going to end up being valuable always.
Yeah, that's a great point, Scott.
So you've got a couple other questions here too. So Simone says, what if you can't find a company that fits your core values? Should you start your own?
I love that approach. Scott and I are both entrepreneurs, so absolutely.
That's what happened for me.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that could be a great place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Also would say that you might be able to find a company that fits maybe 98% of your values or something, and maybe that's a short-term approach so that you can learn, gain experience, and so on and so forth as you're getting your own company started too. That's another possibility. You don't necessarily have to do one or the other. In fact, Ryan's talked about the new career game and how work has changed and continues to change. And then I think that's going to be more and more and more the approach too. I don't know. What do you think about that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that's a great response for sure. And along those lines, yeah, more and more companies are getting started just from companies' basements. I read something recently that said something along the lines of 10 or 20 years from now, the top 500 companies, or some percentage of them, haven't even been created yet, just because it's so easy to start your own thing from online and from your garage nowadays. So yeah, it's totally a great way to go. And yeah, I agree with what you said there, Scott.
Nancy says, and we've got a couple other questions here too.
Cool.
Oh, awesome. She says I'm pronouncing her name right, so that's a bonus. Nancy says, does the guide or the program, does it have 100% telecommuting jobs or entry-level positions specifically for those who are transitioning to a new industry or those without experience?
Yeah, good question. So, I mean, I can't say for sure because I don't know every single job on there, but yes, I would imagine so. That was the case for my dream job. My first one that I got, at least first, was that I could totally work from home. So companies that offer 100% telecommuting. Yeah. Oh yeah. There are absolutely, it's becoming more and more common. So there will be definitely some in the guide and in the different resources, more and more common so that people work from home. If you think about it on the company's side, it really helps them a lot too, because they don't have to pay for office space. They don't have to pay for that kind of thing too. So it's kind of a win-win if you can make it working from home. So yes, there will be some.
It's really interesting. I've seen this progression just in the last few years, just working with different people that they've been targeting a variety of companies, and even some of the more conservative companies are now much more open to to that telecommuting. Companies that, quite frankly, surprised me. So companies that aren't anywhere close to this list necessarily. So I take that as an indication that it's definitely moving much, much, much more in that direction, even more so than I would have thought, or faster than I would have thought.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mandy says, what's the website for the guide again? I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here for you. That way you've got that.
Cool. Thanks, Scott. Oh, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Septarshi lived in Canada as well too. Cool. Your wife is Canadian. I'm from Calgary originally. Not sure if you're on the West Coast or East Coast, but yeah, I'm from there originally. So
All right, so that's pasted in there for Canadians and non-Canadians alike.
We're not discriminating here tonight.
Not discriminating. I was almost a Canadian. I lived 20 minutes from the Canadian border, so I'm close enough. Honorary Canadian? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we can count you in. We'll include you in the club.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Rob says, what if my dream company is in another city? IDEO in San Francisco. Hi, Rob. But my passion is in LA, getting drum lessons from really good teachers here. So what then?
Cool. I mean, well, that's a decision that you would have to make based on your values and your passions. I would think. You know, I can't tell you what to do. You know, maybe there's some alternative solution where they can maybe there's some sort of percentage of telecommuting where you can stay in LA, or you can work, you know, go back and forth and work from wherever, kind of thing. I would get creative and think about, start with what you want, start with your vision of what you want. It would be my approach for your life and your career, and then work from there and see what the best solution is that you can implement at work.
And I'm familiar a little bit with Rob's situation. Rob, awesome that you made it. By the way, he says, P.S. Great webinar. Glad I was able to make it. So
cool. Thanks, Rob. Glad to have you.
I would totally agree with what Ryan says for you, Rob. In addition to that, I would add that, you know, you heard Ryan talk a little bit earlier about, you know, what's the offer that they couldn't refuse, and you know, I think that could be the case for IDEO too. You know, as I know, you've probably gotten more familiar with the company, and probably at this point, maybe even have made contact with some of the people there. You know, as you continue to get to know them and as you continue to build that relationship, you know, what's some of the offers that maybe they couldn't refuse, even if it's not necessarily full-time work at the beginning. There could be a whole bunch of different things. And I'm not super familiar with their company, so I don't know that I could give you one of those off the top of your head, or off the top of my head at least. But I would push you to evaluate, you know, what actually makes sense for that particular organization and the people within it.
Yeah, that's a great point, Scott.
Saptarshi says there's a global reach here. I wonder how much travel could be involved. Let's see.
Yeah, I would say as much or as little as you want. I know one of the organizations in the Dream Job Resource Guide is called, I think it's called Escape the City, and they specialize in listing jobs with companies like this that have kind of more of an adventurous streak to them. So it could be I've previously seen like Caribbean island jobs on there. So if travel is your thing, then there are definitely opportunities out there for that. Yeah, again, it just goes back to what it is you want.
Simone says, by the way, this is an eye opener and my first webinar, so thanks.
Oh, cool, thanks, Simone.
And so Tarshi asked another question: Are there any of the Game Changers or B Corp that are in the healthcare or patient care sector?
Yeah, I believe so. So I'm on Game Changers 500 site right now. I'm going to see if I can find you one.
Geez, I wish there were more. That's a sector that badly needs to be, I don't know, it needs a makeover.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, on the Game Changers 500 site, they have an entire section on health, and I see 3 companies in there. So this is just on one of the sites. There are other ones, but one of the companies is the Chopra Center. There's One Mama and Yes2 beauty products. So those are probably less healthcare patient sector wise, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see one on the Game Changers 500. You'd have to look through the other links in that guide. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunity for this movement to spread there. And again, we just had the first really non-traditional or public corporation join this movement and declare to become a for-benefit company. So it's you're coming onto this movement at the beginning at a really good time where it's starting to catch fire. So.
So we got a lot of agreement. And agree.
Agree.
I 1,000,000% agree. Awesome, Nancy. And Saptarshi, awesome.
Oh, old school is absolutely right. Well, I'll tell you what. I've got a coaching client who is trying to get a startup going in that particular sector. So after she's got it up and running, then then we'll send you her direction.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, there's more of that change coming, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing. Oh wait, I'll put this out here first. But Lisa says, "Hey, I'm in physician relations, Nancy, and you are not kidding." Okay, so apparently we've hit a nerve. I think this is a great thing. So Ryan was talking about problems earlier, and this is clearly a problem. So this is a nerve for a whole bunch of people. So if anyone of you want to start that organization, and then the other rest of you want to get to know that person and use the gateway method to be able to get a job there, then go ahead and do that.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, go ahead and drop in any other questions in here, and then we'll get them to Ryan here. And what if somebody is really just getting started with this, and they want to, they get off the webinar and they want to do first things first. What's the first place that they start? What would you encourage them to do? What was the first thing that that the gateway method, if they actually purchase this, will guide them through?
Yeah, great point or a great question. I should probably have addressed that. So we as soon as you log into the Gateway Method website, we have a 60-day quick start guide to get you going on your path and make it a smooth process for you. So the website itself, you can access. It's totally online. It's do-it-yourself pace, so you can go as quickly or slowly through there as you want. So you can check out the guide for like a kind of a suggested track, if you will, of like a few hours a week kind of thing to put into it. And then just go from there. Some modules are going to take more time than others, and some things are going to be a little harder or a little easier for you, kind of just depending on where you are. So it's totally do it at your own pace, access it anywhere, anytime, and then just kind of start with that guide and tailor the program to fit your life and your career best. So.
All right, going once here. If you've got questions, we're closing up in the next few minutes here. So make sure that that you click on the link, because that's going to disappear here in just a little bit, I believe.
Yeah.
And then get your last minute questions in here. Ryan, anything else that you wanted to add overall? By the way, what for those people that are on the fence, like how would they actually return it? Like what is that process like? What is I know you talked about it being no risk, but what is that actually like?
Yeah, good question. So it's actually incredibly easy, and it's how it works is that as soon as you buy, you get an email receipt, and in that receipt is a link for what happens if you don't like the program, and you have an entire 60 days to try it out. You can refund it at any time during that 60 days for any reason at all. I will not send you negative thoughts or anything of the sort for giving it a try. So it's totally up to you to just give it a shot. And in that, like I said, in that email, there's a link to get a refund. It's a few clicks. It's actually processed by all of our orders are processed by a company named ClickBank. So they've processed, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of transactions since they've been around. So it's super secure. They deal with lots of companies like us that are kind of smaller companies and need a little bit of support with payment processing and stuff. So they handle it. They handle refunds, I think, within 24, 48 hours. So like, yeah, super easy process to get it. So.
Ryan, I really appreciate you taking the time and making the time to come over and teach us some of this stuff. It means a lot to me, and it sounds like we've had a lot of happy people that got some new stuff out of this too. So I really appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, this is. I really appreciate you having me on and inviting me to talk with everybody. You have a great community here, and just really enjoyed our time together tonight. I appreciate you guys spending your time here. So.
Yeah. On that note, by the way, if you get other questions or anything like that, where can they reach you if they've got other questions afterwards? I want to make sure that that they've got that for you too.
Oh yeah, great point. You can email info@thegatewaymethod.com if you have any questions. So I can type that in here, info@thegatewaymethod.com.
And all of you, I think, know by now that you can reach me at scott@happentoyourcareer.com if you need anything else.
Cool. Great question, Scott. Thanks for filling the gaps there. What things I missed.
All right.
All right.
Going once, going twice. Shutting down. I'm gonna go hang out with my kids a little bit here before I put them to bed. I really appreciate all you spending your time with us. This has been awesome, and thank you again, Ryan.
Yeah.
This is cool. I'm glad that you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much again, everybody. Thanks, Scott, for having me. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Adios.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.